Hi everyone. Today I want to present you the tool CodeSnap 2600 that I developed to allow users to create simple Atari 2600 games. It's based on assembly code, but don't worry, most of the functionality will be available just moving blocks. So it's a very visual product. One other thing is in a prototype state, so there will be possibly bugs, and also I will add more functionalities going forward. Okay, to start the tool, you need to look at my itch.io page and CodeSnap 2600. The link is in the description. Then just run the game, and as you see, it presents the page with the blocks. There is a starting one, and also here will appear the actual game when you run it. So let's look at the buttons available. So these two are the ones to create a game. So let's just start quickly with this initial one. So I click generate assembly, and here maybe you're not relevant at this point, but it creates all the actual code used to create the game. Then you press compile and run, and this runs the game here. So in this example contains a sprite that you can move vertically with your keyboard. Then you can also download the game. So this game that you have just created, you press this and will download the game in a folder, and you can use in with an emulator or even a real Atari 2600. And this is to download the assembly code. Probably at this point is not important. You can save this current configuration and load the configuration. So if I do any change, I want to save that, I do that, I save a file, and then I can load the file. This just loads this initial page, and here open the manual in Italian, as you see, and in English. Okay, let's see how to do a very simple game from scratch. So let's just clear up everything. So first, to start, we need to load the basic configuration Atari 2600 game. That includes setting variables, initializing variables, and then these two areas called vblank, game logic, and overscan are used just to do the logic of a game. So setting position, doing calculations, and the area where the sprites and the objects are showed on the screen is here in visible screen kernel, and here is used to create bitmaps or sprites, graphics. So let's do something simple. We start with kernel. So this block that goes in the visible screen is the one that allows you to show player 1, player 2, missile 1, missile 2. In this example, we disable everything. We just keep the player 1, so one sprite. As you know, in Atari 2600 you can have two sprites, two called players, and two missiles. There is also another one called ball that is similar to a missile, but I'm not handling yet in this tool. Okay, as you see here, player 1 requires coordinates, because we need to set vertical and horizontal coordinates. So we set variables. So we go to variables and set. Okay, no. Before that, we need to initialize variables. So let's create two variables. We can even duplicate that in the RAM variables, and we call let's say player 1 x and player 1 y. Okay, these two variables will be used to control the position of a sprite. Then I set the variable, I can initialize this variable, so I can set this variable player1 x to value, I can drag this value. Let's say we start from position, I don't know, 30 on the screen. And I'll do the same for the y variable in initialization. Okay. And let's say 40. We need to define the bitmap of a sprite. So we go to ROM resources, set the player bitmap, and I don't know, we can change with the basic one, can change to something like that. Apply. Now we need to set the player X position on the screen. So we need an additional functionality to be called. So we do prepare horizontal position of player. We select player 1. In this case, you can select also player 2. We do 2 values and we set a variable. In this case, player 1x, because it's the horizontal position. Player 1x. And then we can do multiple prepare horizontal position for player 1, player 2, missile, and so on. At the end, we need always to call apply horizontal move, just at the end of a sequence of prepare horizontal position of a player. Another thing that we need to do is setting the bitmap. So what happens is I can create any number of these to create animation, change the sprite bitmap. So I need to set for player 1 which bitmap I'm using. So this bitmap is called bitmap player, let's say player 1 bitmap. So I set the player to this same bitmap. And if I do generate a assembly and compile, I still see nothing. Why? Because the player by default has color black, like the screen. So we go to the graphics, set, and we can set the color of the player to this white. As you can see, this player that we just created, so with this shape, is here. Of course, if I go and change something, like I don't know, this, compile, I have a new one. Okay, this is just a position, a sprite in position 30 x, 40 y. So now we want to be able to move this. So there are simple commands to do this. So in input controls, we can say move x variable with joystick. So let's put it here. And we say move x variable player 1 with joystick 1, and we set the minimum and maximum. Let's say we do between 20 and I don't know, 90. So if I compile, now with the keyboard, okay, doesn't work. You see that there was an error. This is something that can happen. So let's see. It says player X, not a code. So this is a little complicated because it comes from assembly, but at least you can see that there is a variable with a wrong name. So I always call the variable X player 1X. In this case, is player X. So let's change the name. Compile. Now it's correct. And if I move horizontally, it's blocked between 30 and 90. No, nothing vertically. But then I can do same thing, input controls, move Y variable. In this case is already player 1 Y, that is the coordinate to be used for vertical. So if I do generate, compile, no error, success. So I can do up and down and left and right. And I'm using the arrow keys in the keyboard. Of course, if I am happy with this, I can save and save this block with any name I want in some folder. And then I can reload the block. One note is that if I I'm working on something and I close the page, the first time I'll reopen, it should show the same stuff because it's saving in the local cache of a browser. But better always to save blocks before closing, because the cache could be cleared up by some other reason by the browser. Okay, I think it's enough as a first tutorial. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next tutorial.